Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Grandmaster Chess Speedrun, where we are playing principled and attacking chess with the end goal of beating a chess grandmaster. So far we've made it all the way up to the 1900s, and e4 followed by d4 is still working as our primary opening. We actually have been facing a lot more e4, e5 than I would normally expect at this level. I'd expect more Caro-Kanns and Sicilians and Frenches to start appearing, but it would seem that e4, e5 is still very common, and that this d4 move is extremely viable. So they've managed to capture on d4, and we're going to play pawn to c3, offering up the second pawn, which I'd be very happy for them to capture. But we don't offer the third pawn, which would go into a Danish gambit, because a lot of players know how to neutralize that. Instead, we go for knight takes on c3 and go for a sustained development advantage. So we're going to start with bishop out to c4, and the main moves here is bishop to b4, and sometimes d6 as well was getting played a lot, but this g6 move I've actually not seen before. It seems a little bit dodgy, I will admit. We always need to consider whether or not queen b3 is any good, but in this situation I just think they go queen e7. At the same time, g6 is quite slow because they're not immediately developing any of their pieces, so we can consider something like knight to f3, bishop to g7, and maybe even knight to g5. And the thing is, they could respond with knight h6, and we go queen b3, but they just castle. So I'm going to stop overthinking, and actually, hold on a minute, there is this interesting idea. I know I said I was going to stop overthinking, but against stuff with g6, I'm quite familiar with this h4 plan. And as we're getting higher up in the rating levels, I think it's time that you can start experimenting with some of this stuff. And the point of h4 is that you want to go h5 and you want to go h6, and you really want to disrupt the fact that this bishop has gone here and say, try and claim control of these dark squares that have been created around where their eventual king will be. And if they ever go for this h6 move, then you can force the capture with the f pawn, and it becomes very difficult to castle with the bishop controlling this diagonal. So that's the idea for now. I'm quite happy with the position. And already now, pawn to h6 is looking quite annoying. In fact, though, we might just leave the pawn here, because if they opt to castle and we can get some knight capture, maybe that could be quite good. We could even play something really weird with pawn to f4 and say on h6, bishop e5, we want e5. But that might be a little bit much, I'm not sure. We can have a calculation. h6, bishop f6, f4, d6, and g4. I think it might be a bit much. It seems quite unnecessary. So for the time being, I think we might be better off actually playing a move like bishop to g5. And the point of this move is that provoking f6 is a huge win. Provoking h6 is a huge win. And on h6, they no longer have bishop f6. And on bishop to e5, we have knight to f3, attacking here and going for the bishop pair. So I think this is an interesting plan. Also, we're trying to stay flexible so that if they end up castling, we might be able to open up the rook file here and start an attack. So, okay. Also, knight d5 is a move, which looks quite venomous. Does look quite venomous. There's this, this knight's pinned. There's knight f6 ideas, h6 ideas. For the time being, I think let's just continue with knight to f3. Though knight d5 might have been quite strong. Definitely one to keep in mind. And on bishop g4, which I thought was quite a likely move, they've weakened up to queen b3 quite a lot. So that seems quite dangerous. And also h6 possibilities again. And in fact, I'm seeing some absolute craziness here. Okay, just bear with me for a second. h6 and bishop to e5. Knight takes on e5, sacrifice the queen. Bishop takes on f7, king f8. pawn takes on g7, king takes on g7, and bishop h6. King f6. Knight d5. Knight takes it. No. Getting a little bit too much there, maybe. Just a little bit too much. But what we can do is come up with some similar stuff with queen to b3 and h6, which looks quite good. Queen to b3 immediately, they probably castle. In which case, we might go queen takes b7. Rook b8. I don't really think that goes anywhere. You know what? Now might actually be the time to strike with knight to d5. Because then queen sacrifices will be quite dangerous. Because we'll have knight f6, king f8, bishop h6 mate. So I quite like this one, actually. But we should start with h6. Yeah, let's start with h6. Because if we just play knight d5 immediately, they can probably get away with taking the pawn. Looks a little bit sketchy, but it might be okay. And I know what I said last time. Last time I was like, I'm never going to get low on the clock again. Never going to burn all my time in the opening. But honestly, I can't really help it. This is sort of what I end up with when I'm playing openings I'm not familiar with. I just end up calculating way too much stuff. Which is why I think an opening repertoire really helped me out. Wow. Okay, that seems like a really, really risky move for them to play. It's inviting knight d5. It's also inviting some queen sacrifices. I think we need to go for knight d5 quickly before I change my mind. And I guess in this position, they probably need to castle. Although, they might even be losing by force. There's another cool line here. Castles the king. We sacrifice the queen. And then we, after the knight captures it, we take the knight on e7 because the knight's no longer protecting. If they go king h8, we have bishop to f6 checkmate. And so they have to sack the queen, allowing us to attack their rook, which causes them to play knight takes on f3, pawn takes on f3, attacks the bishop, bishop takes, rook h3, bishop g4, rook g3, attacks the bishop. Bishop has to move somewhere. We take the rook. That looks like a good line. In case you didn't 100% follow that, because honestly I'm not sure I 100% followed it, I think we end up an exchange, and we'll double check that analysis in the analysis portion of the video. Okay, so they've just moved the bishop back, and at this point I'm getting really, really tempted by these sacrifices of the queen. They're looking quite juicy. They take it. Then I can play knight takes on c6. Takes it. Oh no, that doesn't work. Bishop takes on e7. Queen c8. Hold on. Knight takes. Take my queen. Check. King f8. Knight d7 wins back the queen by force. Take. King goes back. Check again. King goes back. And then take the bishop. I think that wins a piece. Yeah. Okay, let's take the bishop. Always sack the queen, guys. Always sack the queen. This is my kind of chess. And this pawn on h6 is doing a fantastic job of preventing the king from running away this way. So I'm feeling pretty good about the position now, because they're going to have just horrible dark squares. I mean, if the knight's capturing this way, then we can start with knight f6 and we just win, I guess. Okay, knight f6 now. Look at this. Look at these ponies, the minor pieces. It's all coming together. The king will be without any squares. And we go knight e to d7, winning the queen back. King is forced back. We go back. We win a piece. Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. King is forced either way. We give the check again, and then we capture the bishop with a completely winning position. Nice. take that guy, and we've got like this pawn's weak. I mean, it's G to the G. Yeah, this pawn's dying, this pawn's like also falling. I mean, taking this one makes a lot of sense. Don't see why you wouldn't. The rook has to move, and then we just go back. So let's not overthink it. Don't want to overthink it. You could also sacrifice here. Pawn takes h7. And knight g8. But that seems incredibly unnecessary when you can just simply drop back like this. Bishop to d5. Threatening this guy here. And also threatening to capture here. And with 2 minutes, I shouldn't mess this up. Although I have been known to get in some time trouble and go a bit off the rails in these past videos. But hopefully this won't be one of them. I think I can just capture that. Looks pretty good. Yeah, let's take it. And yeah, should be very nice. Very nice position. All right, I can just move back here, attack the rook, and try and promote my pawn. Like this. I mean, there's nothing here. The rook's under threat. I mean, I could just take this first. Also, the pawn's not properly pinned. I mean, the pawn is pinned, but there's a rook protecting as well. And they've decided not to save the rook, and I have decided to take it, causing a resignation. So that was a pretty cool game. Wonder if we got any brilliant moves there. Hopefully. I mean, the queen sack, can't go too wrong with a queen sack. Definitely quite happy with that one. Over halfway to 2K as well, so making good progress, and I'll see you all with the analysis in a few seconds. Wow, okay, so we played that one at a 90% accuracy. They played with a 68.4. So I'm actually quite surprised that a game with so much craziness and tactics was fairly decent. Let's get started with the opening e4, e5, c3, sacrificing the pawn, and knight c6. I think this is the most common way that people tend to play against this. By the way, don't worry, I've not forgotten about that weird line that I was pointing out that was really long, and I claimed that we won an exchange. I will definitely take a look at that as well. But they played knight c6 here, so most common line, bishop c4, and g6. This is a rare move. I was not familiar with it, but this pawn h4 move, okay, this pawn h4 is not very good, but h4 is actually quite a natural response to g6 in these openings. When you want to try and provoke this h5 move such that these dark squares become much weaker and planting a knight on g5 becomes stronger, as well as potential future f3 and g4 plans to break open the king side. But okay, it turns out that queen to b3 was a bit better to provoke queen e7. And then, yeah, you can't quite go knight d5, but it just likes knight f3 and then knight d5. Sacrifices the pawn, and king to d1, followed by rook e1. That's pretty savage. Threatening this knight c7 and also winning the queen. That's brutal, honestly. But what about this? Check. Okay, that doesn't work, apparently. There's a better move here. Queen c3, stepping under the pin. My goodness. Wow. Everybody's getting pinned here. We were in pin city. That's pretty wild. But anyway, we go for h4, which actually makes a fair amount of sense, and h5 to follow up. White still has a small advantage, and the best move here for black is to give up their freshly fianchettoed bishop, which honestly looks extremely grim. You've got huge dark square weaknesses now, and this doesn't look like a fun time at all. But this is the top engine line. Instead, they played knight to e7, and bishop to g5 is the second engine move, which I'm very happy to find. It's been given an inaccuracy, but engine actually quite likes it after thinking for a little bit more. Alternative, it likes knight f3, which is pretty straightforward. And then it likes bishop g5 because we get to open up this position like here, knight in. Yeah, and I guess the queen can find a way to the h file as well. and this looks quite good. Actually, just knight d5 immediately, and yeah, black's already in big trouble after knight f6 threats with rook h8 mate. So that makes a lot of sense. But instead, we ended up with this position. This was a mistake. Allows them to get h6, and h6 is the only move. But I was quite happy to get this. I was even considering going for a position like this, where yeah, I wasn't exactly sure, but I thought we could like sack material and get a pawn all the way up to f7. And even here we've got like knight coming in, queen coming in, and this looks very, very dangerous for black. And the engine does agree, so that's definitely interesting. Here, okay, h6 is the second move. This one, apparently, yeah, invert the move order, and starting with this knight jump was slightly better. I guess because h6 allows them to get out of the variation once again with bishop takes on c3, but no one really likes to play bishop takes on c3 because you'll have forever dark square weaknesses over here, and our dark square bishop just looks like an absolute beast, and white's much better still. So h6 is not too bad. And yes, this is where the cool line that I was trying to calculate was starting with knight to d5. I thought that their best option was to try and castle. And here, I thought queen takes on d4 was winning by force. And, okay, it's +3, but it's not the best. It's not the best. And my line went knight takes on e7, king h8, bishop f6 is a mate. But knight takes on e7, queen takes it, bishop takes, attacks the rook, bishop takes f3, takes, bishop takes f3, rook h3, bishop g4, rook g3, bishop d7 takes it. And we actually end up a full rook. So I'd miscalculated a little bit. I thought we were just up an exchange, but we were up a full rook. And actually, when you let the engine sit a little bit, it does think this is one of the best options. So quite happy to say that queen sacrifice idea was in fact sound. So that's always good to see that your calculation is actually working. And yeah, engine sits for a little bit, actually quite likes queen takes on d4, which is funny. However, knight takes on e7 is just much cleaner, because after this one, you're going queen takes, and queen g7 is pretty much unstoppable. You're just getting mated here, so that would have been even better. So it makes a lot of sense why our opponent didn't castle. Instead, tried to retreat with the bishop. But now we get the brilliant queen sacrifice here, exposing our queen to the bishop, but also just these dark squares are so juicy. They take the queen because what else can you really do? I mean, if you take this way, then you're just getting pummeled all the same with knight f6, king f8, and at the very least, this way you'll lose like this with queen d4 with a double attack on the knight and the rook. So yeah, this sacrifice is good. Knight f6, win back the queen, give the check again, take the bishop, and it's just clean up stations here. They have no development either, and end up just, yeah, I mean, blundering the rook, but at the same time, there isn't really anything else that you can do in that position. So yeah, it's always nice to have a sharp attacking game like that. Pretty happy with the win. If you enjoyed my style of teaching or be interested in some one-to-one coaching, then check out the description, send me an email with a bit of information, and we'll see if coaching is good for you. And other than all of that, if you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!